Welcome to Tokyo Alpha, the show where I normally talk to somebody else, my co-host Crypto, about the Japanese NFT market. Today, he is actually quite busy, so there's some stuff going on with Skill Chain. That's Cilchain. That is a new Japanese NFT project that he is working on as part of the team, and the artist is I've said it multiple times here, but Amano. Oh my god! Oh my god! I can't remember Amano Yoshitaka. Yoshitaka. Thank you. Amano Yoshitaka. Thank you. I'm thanking myself. Amano Yoshitaka, who is of course known for Final Fantasy, and so he's been kind of busy the past couple days with some stuff over there, so he couldn't record today, and I believe he's going to be leaving Japan to maybe coming back to Hawaii. I'm not sure. So anyway, things are kind of crazy for crypto right now. For crypto, the co-host, not for crypto as a cryptocurrency. So he couldn't join today, but I think he'll be back next week. But my name is Tony, by the way. I host Japan's top ranked Japanese language podcast, and if you phone, and I tweet about the Japanese NFT market, and I do a lot of stuff in Japanese as well for the Japanese market. But anyway, I just wanted to do a quick show. This is going to be a solo show. It might be a bit shorter than usual, I think, because it's just me by myself. But I wanted to just give a few updates on what's been going on in the Japanese market. So normally I would start out by asking Crypto where he is. We already talked about that, and then I asked Crypto where what he has bought lately. So since he's not here, I will discuss what I've been buying lately. I haven't really bought anything this past week that I can remember. Um, really, the whole Japanese NFT market right now is very slow. So I can just discuss what's been going on recently. So, for example, Kurenai, which was a highly anticipated NFT project by Big Cat Monkey, he is a well-known Japanese influencer and builder. So Kurenai had its stage one of its reveal. So in stage one, you get to learn what type of creature, I guess, or being your NFT is. So there's four types of creatures. I don't know if that's the right word, but there's four types. And then on January 3rd, you'll get to see the whole NFT, all the traits, everything, the actual image. I had four, as I had discussed last week, and I ended up selling one more, and I still have two. But unfortunately, the floor has just kept going down. So last I checked a few minutes ago, it was at 0.0377, and I think the mid price was 0.026. So the floor had gone up as high as 0.06 something, as far as I was able to tell. And unfortunately, it's gone down, and it's gone down a bit more. There's a bit more sell pressure. So buyers are not really stepping in a big way. There's steady volume, but unfortunately, yeah, it hasn't performed as highly as many people I think expected. But we'll see what happens on January 3rd. That's when the second reveal happens. That you get the full NFT. Um, Something interesting that could happen on January 3rd is that the market, uh, this kind of slow stage in the market starts to turn, and we could see a little bit better action in January. That's possible. I'll discuss why briefly a little bit later. But so that was going on with Kurenai. I still have two, and probably going to hold until second reveal to see what happens. And then Tougenkyou, which was another highly anticipated Japanese NFT project that also revealed, I think, yesterday. So last I checked, score was 0.0569, I think, but it was in the mid 0.05, and I think the mint price was 0.05. It might have been a double stage mint, so there was 0.04 and 0.05. Um, so it's getting close to its mint price, and we're not seeing too much, big price action at the moment. So unfortunately, yeah, that everybody's just kind of waiting right now for LLAC. We'll talk about LLAC in a moment. Uh, and then there were two new projects that I noticed that we also covered these last week. But there was Crypto Ninja Children. So this is another one in the general Crypto Ninja Partners uh, like sphere. And this one launched, I think it was on Friday or Saturday Japan time, and it was another one of these 0.001 mints. Uh, so most of these Crypto Ninja partners, projects launch at like 0.001, and they always sell out because it's just so cheap. So there's really not much risk there. Uh, but anyway, currently the Crypto Ninja Children floor is at 0.061 last I checked. So this one went up to like 0.11 or something like that. It's a lower 0.11, I think. So I heard that there's this one group of people that basically goes around and does a bunch of floor sweeps on the Crypto Ninja related project. And I think they did a floor sweep on this PNC Crypto Ninja Children project, and then it kind of pumped a bit. But basically, it's come down to where it was, I think, before the week, so 0.06. So it hasn't done some crazy volume or anything. We're just seeing again like the Japanese buyers are not really stepping in right now. And so even if you buy on secondary, the projects just are not moving. So you end up at best breaking even, if not losing money if you sell after you buy on secondary. Of course, I don't know what's going to happen with this in 1 month or whatever, but just currently that's the situation. So Crypto Ninja Children, I heard they were doing something kind of interesting, like they were donating part of their proceeds to this program that Crypto Ninja Partners, I guess, is doing with like this kind of metaverse school for kids that are kind of having trouble at school and are avoiding going to school for just kind of various like peer pressure and bullying, things like that. And so they're trying to do a kind of voluntary style school in the metaverse, and they're donating part of their proceeds to that. It's an interesting idea. I have no idea how widespread this will be, but hey, at least it's a little different, I guess. But that's something. I really don't know what else they're going to do with the Crypto Ninja Children project. Then one other one of these Crypto Ninja projects that launched over the weekend was Pixel Baby Ninja. So this is a fan art collection, another one of these like 10,000 that mint out at 0.001. Currently, the floor is at 0.0069. So I mean, technically it's up, but between fees and everything, I mean, you're not making much on this one. So again, this was just like a fan art project. It did do like 50, 55 ETH in volume. So I mean, for the creator, that was probably nice. But yeah, this wasn't much of a trade. But again, so the the main reason why I want to do the space today, even though it's me by myself, is because what we have coming up right now at 5 o'clock my time, which is Hawaii time, and that would be what is that, 10 p.m. Eastern time. So basically, in about 52 minutes, we have in starting for LLAC, that live like a cat. And this is the project that we've been talking about for quite a while now on the show, because this is basically like the most anticipated Japanese NFT project to be connected to the whole crypto ninja sphere. And Ike Hayasan, which is basically Japan's biggest influencer. This project LLAC has been highly anticipated for 2, 3, 4 months now. I think I'm not sure exactly when it was announced, but a lot of people were really paying attention to this. And it's of course another one of these 0.001 mint price projects. And I believe the supply is 20,000, but I heard that they were holding 10,000 and they were going to be selling them later next year. I'm not sure if that's been updated or changed, but last I heard, like maybe a week ago or a week ago, that was the situation. So maybe only 10,000 will be in the market. But I think that a lot of people have been holding, their ETH, their liquidity, and they haven't been buying into secondary projects, or they haven't been buying secondary into other Japanese projects because many people are waiting for this LLAC project. And then what's happened is that a lot of these Japanese NFT projects, they've decided to launch all within the past 2 weeks. And so they've been eating into each other's, market share and competing for liquidity. And basically, they've all just kind of cannibalized each other, and it's been, you know, kind of a reverse of what they were hoping for. They were hoping to get out before LLAC and catch some liquidity and get some good price action before people started just totally being obsessed over LLAC and just buying into that. Unfortunately, like I've been saying, the floors just have been dropping on all these new projects. I can't think of a single new project that's launched in the past month, in the past maybe 4 weeks, that has gone up after the initial little pump that it experienced. Uh, so what we've seen is an overall drop in volume and less uh, wallets active in the space. What I've seen, it's very, very, very hard to determine that because how do you determine that this is a Japanese person in the market? But just from what I've seen from some stats, it does seem like there's less people. It also seems like there's just less people tweeting. That being said, the Japanese like kind of one-of-one artists are still very much active. There's a lot of like action going on in that space. There's an event called NFT Kohaku, which is basically like based on this Japanese New Year's show, like New Year's show. It's kind of inspired. It's red and white team compete in on TV. It's a music competition, but this one is like an art competition. And there's been like over 600 artists that are participating in that. So that's been really, really impressive to see. I've been seeing a lot of Japanese, like one-of-one artists tweeting about that, and that's been getting a lot of good traction. So I think on the ground level for Japanese artists, there's still, a lot of interesting stuff going on. And they're, doing their thing and they're selling, and the popular artists are still getting sales, and they've got very, very supportive communities. Overall, the space is small, but for the artists, like the supporters, very, very strong, very, very supportive. So I'm not too worried about the one-of-one side of things for the market, but the reality is that right now, just most of the Japanese generative, large-scale NFT projects, uh, they're not doing well. Like they're basically uh, dripping, dripping, bleeding out, or dropping in floor price, and volume is just not coming in. Even like the top level projects, they've really come down from their highs. So Crypto Ninja Partners, I think it went up to like mid 3.33 something, and that was in November, maybe around a month ago, maybe a little more than a month ago. And now it's been in the 2.1, 2.2 area. It basically dropped down under 2 to like 1.8, 1.9, but then a bunch of buyers stepped in and they pumped it up to like 2.2, 2.1. So it's holding there, and that's really, really impressive in this market. But we're just not seeing significant volume coming in to really move the market because I think people would, if they're going to spend, most people might want to hold that for LLAC because that's the thing that's launching in like less than an hour. Same with Owl Panda. Like both Crypto Ninja Partners and Owl Panda are holding super, super low list under 1%, which is incredible. Uh, but the floors have been dropping. Owl Panda went up to like 2 ETH, and now it's like the 0.6 area. I do still have two, but I sold out eight when it was around the 1 mark. So, you know, it seemed like it was going to keep dripping down. Dripping, I keep saying dripping, bleeding down. And it played out that way. But the thing is that the floor is super, super thin. So I have no idea if this is going to happen. But let's just say LLAC does incredibly well. A bunch of people make a bunch of money. Maybe they start to buy up EMP and Alpanda, and they pump up the floors because the floors are so thin. Anyway, that even if you don't buy that many, the floor is going to move pretty quickly. That's possible. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I would say that's a really, really risky gamble if you're And on top of that, there's a 2.5% open fee. So liquidity is low on these projects, and the fee is already quite high. So if you're talking about Crypto Ninja Partners at 2.2, if it pumps up to 2.6, you sell, and somebody actually buys it at that price, you're getting almost what, like a point 0.3. You're losing that in the trade, so you're back down to breaking even. So even if a 2.2, if you buy into 2.2 and it pumps up to 2.6, you're basically making almost nothing or nothing, despite the risk that you're taking on with a 2.2 buy. I don't think Crypto Ninja Partners is going to zero, but I also don't know when it'll go to 3E. In the near future, I really don't know. So that's the risk that you take on. I mean, Panda would be a lower risk play at 0.6 something. Like I said, it's been bleeding out steadily, but uh, could it pump again? Definitely. I still stand by my belief that Ao Umino has one of the best chances at breaking into the more mainstream like character goods market in Japan, because she has the connections and she established her character as popular long before she launched the generative project. So if she were to approach a company that deals in this, I think she could work something out. And she's worked for, what's that show called? Agretzko, which is a Sanrio property. So she has connections, and I know that she does. I've talked to her, I've interviewed her. So it's certainly possible that she could make some big announcement and then that thing comes. I know she's working on animation. She is an animator. So definitely, Owl Panda could absolutely bounce. The problem is that I just really don't know when that could be. And then even if it does bounce, will Japanese buyers step in? How much will they step in? Will they keep buying up until one past 1 ETH? I really don't know, because the average Japanese NFT buyer tends not to spend that much on an NFT single purchase. So the question here is LLAC. So this thing is launching in, let's see, like almost, like 43 minutes, 43 minutes. So if it does incredibly well, could that re-energize the Japanese NFT market? Yeah, absolutely. If it disappoints, could that lead to further bearishness and people just not being too interested in buying on secondary? Yes, it could. I have no doubt that it will sell out. I can't tell the future, but I have yet to see a Crypto Ninja Partner connected or Ikehayasan connected project to not sell out. And again, it's 0.001, so there's really no reason not to mint. And yeah, the thing is that I just don't know if the foreign market will step in, because what we saw with Panda is that yes, Japanese buyers were buying on secondary, but the thing that really moves the market is the non-Japanese buyers. They're the ones that come in and start moving the floor with the bigger volume, and that combined with the fact that there's relatively low listings on many of these projects in Japan, that can really move the floor. Like these low volume pumps, just they can go crazy. So one scenario that we have with LLAC is that people start listing pretty high, but the non-Japanese NFT market is just not too interested. So basically, you have like a 0.3, 0.5, 0.74, but there really aren't that many buys in. And so that's just not attractive to the non-Japanese market, because they want to get in on momentum so that they can get in, get out, and they don't want to be holding, especially a project that they have no understanding of, and they're not interested in getting into Discord and all that. So that's the ultimate question here. If the non-Japanese market steps in, if this starts trending and we start to buy in, I think this could be a replay of Owl Panda. We could definitely get up to either, whatever. I really don't know. But right now, the global market is more obsessed with Pudgy Penguins and Sappy Seals and a couple other projects and all the Yuga stuff that's been going on. All the Bored Ape and Jimmy, the trial of Jimmy the Monkey, and other deeds and all that. So there's definitely people are paying attention to certain things in the market. Now, could this maybe distract a few people and bring them over and have them spend the money? Yeah, it could, but I just really don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. I this is for me, Owl Panda was I had whitelist, so that was a no-brainer. I got in on that, and I absolutely did 00, like I said, 0.001. So yeah, there was no way I wasn't commit. I like the creator. I like potential for the project. So of course, I'm in. And I think a lot of people were not expecting what happened with Owl. I think it caught quite a few people by surprise. Um, and then once it started moving, then people started going crazy, and then Ao Umino-san just her following exploded, and Ao Panda got to this whole new level. But for the most part, her marketing was not super in your face. It was a bit low key. Yes, Ike Hayasan was talking about her, but I think LLAC has been around for longer. There's a lot more implementation, and I like to compare it to this kind of other kind of moment where a lot of people, like all eyes were on other teams when that came out, and LLAC is kind of looking like that. The difference is that just to mint, other deeds, it cost them what is like $6,000 or something. I can't remember. I know gas fees were ridiculous, and the amount of ape coin that you had to have, I think it was like 4,000 plus gas fees, $4,000 plus gas fees or something. It was really really expensive, and so that's a massive liquidity event. So you get all this like market, and then not enough to sustain the floor. Um, LLAC, it's such a cheap mint, so we don't have we only have like 10 leaving the market. Um, but are people going to step in when the floor is like super high? I don't know. What I can say is that this is probably going to be one of the most diamond-handed communities, just like Crypto Ninja Partners, because we've seen that every single Crypto Ninja Partners connected project it's like that. They get those under 1% listings, and the marketing approach that they've taken with LLAC has been very much leaning into that. The hand-picked whitelist roles, they know every single person that they're giving whitelist to, and there's a lot of incentive, both spoken and unspoken, for them not to sell. They're doing some sold down token thing to mark people who minted. Um, and so, I think there's a little bit of that kind of social pressure where if you sell, you may be kind of, looked down upon a little bit. I'm just kind of, I've heard stories. I don't know for sure. But even if it's not, on purpose, it might be this kind of unspoken thing that people feel that, even if that's not actually the case. So I really don't think we're going to get a lot of flippers in that because what we've seen with Crypto Ninja Partners, they don't do whitelist giveaways. They basically, they handpick everybody. They know who they're giving to and that. They don't do the Twitter giveaway and all that. So, yeah, but like I said multiple times, the ultimate question is, will the non-Japanese market step in to pump the floor, and then get that kind of movement going, get that FOMO going, where even some Japanese people start stepping in, they start buying at expensive prices, and then we get into that kind of situation, like are the non-experienced traders going to lose the money and all that? Well, I don't know, but that's the game. That's the game, right? That's if you're listening to the space, I think you understand that's what it is. That there's risk to this, and you have to manage your risk. So that's basically it. I mean, we are let me see, 30 minutes away or something. Like, yeah, we're like 27 minutes away from the LLAC mint. We will see what happens with that. If somebody has a question or something, oh hey, okay, I did Doc. Give me a second. I will bring you up. Happy to have you on. If you have a question or you want to add something. All right, I added you up. Ready to go. Doc.
Thank you for dropping all of this alpha. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
was pretty much just like going all over Twitter trying to find like where is the Discord for LLC, but I ended up finding
Oh,
it. But thank you for that information.
yeah, no problem. So I was listening to a space by Hayasan, and he was talking about how they were planning to make the Discord completely closed. Um, so basically, I think you just had to, if you didn't have an NFT, you wouldn't get access to anything. I don't know if that's the final decision, but were you able to get into the Discord?
Yep. And just to confirm, I guess most likely you could pick off secondaries off OpenSea, right?
Yeah. It will be on OpenSea. Yeah.
Perfect,
Um,
perfect.
yeah. Well, yeah. So it should be 30 minutes or so, I guess. Yeah.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Much appreciated.
Yep. Yeah. No problem. Thanks for coming. Yeah, if anybody else wants to come up, happy to have you. What I will add here is so this is going to be the interesting thing, right? Like so, up until now, my theory has been a lot of people are holding liquidity in order to get in on LLAC. But what happens after LLAC, right? Like so, were people just waiting for LLAC and that's it? They're not going to like get into other projects, or like is this just gonna this downtrend gonna keep on going, or um, now that the people that wanted LSA, they got it, they spent 1 ETH or whatever, they got in, they're happy, so now they have other money to spend on other projects. That's the thing that I think that I've been waiting for, and that probably many other people in the Japanese market are have been waiting for, on bated breath, um, because the market has been looking not too good this month. After an amazing market last month, it was great, but again, a lot of non-Japanese traders were getting bored. So I can't say off the top of my head what's coming in January. The only thing that I can think of right now is January 3rd is going to be the second reveal for Kurenai. So if let's say the market picks up a little bit, maybe we get some action once the second reveal happens for Kurenai, people start buying it. Maybe that goes up. I don't know. It just really all depends. Another interesting thing that LLAC has been doing is they've been trying to onboard more people. So they do these seminars and like I think in-person seminars. If I maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's in-person seminars. And they try to get in new people. So for example, these are new people in the NFT space. Are they going to then start spending money on other projects, or are they only going to stick to the Crypto Ninja Partners ecosystem? I mean, that's certainly very possible, and they just don't, get into other projects, or maybe they're only in it for LLAC. They weren't like NFT DJ kind of people. They're just in it for LLAC. I really don't know. So January is going to be a very interesting month, and I know that many other projects are going to be next month, January, February, March. I've heard February might be the release for the Mafia Animals, which is the next Crypto Ninja Partners Hayasan connected big project. Um, so that's going to be the next thing everybody's looking forward to. But for example, Neo Tokyo Punk, my PFP is Neo Tokyo Punk. I think in March they might be releasing their second collection. So that's another thing people are looking forward to. And I'm sure there's plenty of other projects that I'm just not aware of. I need to do a little bit more research, but it's going to be very interesting because I think that 2021 has been this year of um, basically creation, right? Like the projects were being born, and there's tons and tons of projects being created, and the big names are being established. Crypto Ninja Partners has come out as the top project in Japan. Uh, so to me, 2022 was kind of like 2021 in the English, global market, right? Because in 2021 we saw Board Ape, we saw the big names, except for maybe Azuki. Azuki launched in January, right? But um, most of the big names, the blue chips, as they call them, the top level projects, the PFP projects launched in 2021, as far as I can remember, or very, very early 2022. Whereas in Japan, the whole PFP like generative roadmap style, craze didn't really start until February, March. I mean, in February we got Love Addicted Girls, but that was kind of like one thing. We didn't really start to see things move until maybe like April. March we got Neo Tokyo Punks, and little by little we started getting more and more and more until the fall, where we started getting a lot more. Like every single week we were getting, sometimes one, two, three, four, five. So, this is playing out in a similar kind of way where, we get this big rush of projects coming out in a relatively short amount of time. But we got a surge in buyers, and now the market has cooled down because people are kind of like saying, "Oh, they're doing that kind of thing again. Oh, it's another cute girl anime PFP project. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that most people, are just looking at it on the surface level because, some of these projects can be kind of complicated or vague, and all you see is the artwork, and so you go like, oh, this seems kind of similar, or this seems like this thing that I saw, 2 weeks ago. So, we've gotten to that stage in the market where people are being more picky. People are getting a little bit tired of chasing the whitelist, and some people have started leaving the space. But we'll see. There could be a bounce. I really don't know. The just the fun thing about the Japanese NFT market for me is that it's generally much more positive because it's so small. Um, I think that there's like it's not like, for example, like if you bought the top on some project like Azuki or Bored Apes in the global market, where the top on Azuki was like $100,000, and now it's like what, $15,000. So you know it's very rare to see a Japanese project like pump to something absolutely ridiculous. Like the craziest we've seen is Crypto Ninja Partners at like 3.5. So even if you bought the top, at least it's not as bad as buying the top on Bored Apes or something like that. So like the amount of hype and craziness that goes into some of these projects, it's just not the same as what we see in the global market. So in that respect, it's safer, and I think that the market can recover more quickly because there's just not as much negativity and loss that happens when the market is a bit more reasonable. So we'll see. I'm not going anywhere. I'm looking forward to the coming year because I think that we're going to start seeing projects deliver on in a more um, concrete way. Right up until now, it's been let's get the project out, let's sell out, let's get the floor up. Oh, we're going to release the second collection. We're going to release the second collection. It's been that kind of mentality. But in the coming year, we're going to see projects disappear. We're going to see projects actually deliver on their promises. There's been more than one project delivering, like promising to create an anime. Crypto Ninja Partners is promising to do some anime. Um, Shinsei Galverse, their whole thing was creating an anime. There's other projects that I've seen. I think Anime JP, their whole thing was creating an anime. Are they going to be able to do it? I don't know, but creating an anime is not cheap. So that's the question, right? Are we going to see in 2023 some of these projects actually deliver on these big promises that they made? And if they don't deliver in 2023, will the community still be there to support them? That's what we're going to see in the coming year. We're going to see actual delivery or projects just not deliver, and these projects will live or die. That's just how it is. Any business is like that, and that's what we're going to see in next year. And I think it's going to be very interesting. That being said, I'm sure we're going to be getting plenty more projects coming, and I think there's still plenty of gaps in the Japanese market that companies and individuals still come in and create something worthwhile. So it's going to be very interesting. A little bit slow right now, but LLAC is going to be a roller coaster ride. I'm sure the 24 hours, 48 hours. We'll probably be talking about that next week. Once we know exactly what's happening. But I will close out soon, unless anybody wants to. Hey, Big Wise. All right. Hey, sorry. When I start talking, I stop looking at the phone. So um, bring up Big Wise. Great to have Big Wise.
Hello.
Oh, Big Wise dropped out. Oh, hey.
Hey, Tony. How's it going?
Hey. Good to have you.
I'm on my lunch break. Hello, everyone. I thought I'd just jump in because you mentioned the projects that are saying they want to do anime. I don't think many of them.
There's quite a few.
Yep, and I get it that it's like trendy and all, but I have a feeling that not many of them really understand how difficult it is to make things like an animation or games. Like a lot of them talk about making games, talk about making metaverses, and I'm really concerned at the amount of money that's being pumped into them by people that probably haven't really done their research. Like, I know it all sounds good in marketing, but in reality, like I would, has there been one yet that's delivered?
Nope.
No. And
I mean, there's like they might release a little like short clip or something, but
that's not
no,
an anime, right? Yeah.
Yeah. There's no like 20-minute episode even like the
Exactly. And I find that this space, and I am going to be negative because it's the reality, and people need to understand that where they're putting their money into is not always the next big thing. Actually, more than likely is not the next big thing, because they only come around once in a blue moon, right? I think a lot of the projects that are, I would say, foreign, for lack of a better term, and we're seeing the whole Japanese theme stuff being produced everywhere. Not that it's bad, or like you don't have to be Japanese to produce them, but at the same time, I think in the current anonymous space of Web3, a few people are taking advantage of vulnerable participants who believe that, we're going to make an anime, and it's going to, you're going to have IP rights to your characters and things like that. Like, how many real world mangaka end up successful releasing a manga? How many real world animation studios actually make it? And I'm talking like actually make it, and that is profitable. Even like film, right? Like, there are plenty of Hollywood caliber films that are absolute flops. Like that, right?
A lot of those DC movies, sadly.
Yeah, so that should tell you already how difficult it is to crack the market. And one of the things that I look at an NFT project is it solving a problem? Like is it addressing a real need? Because if it is, then at least you have a unique selling point. But if you're making anime, well, so is everyone else, and I call that more of a luxury, right? Because it's already there, which means as soon as it becomes a luxury, your target market diminishes by a lot, and you're also competing with so many other established brands. So I just wanted to say that on your point about will they deliver, will they not? If anyone's thinking of investing into one of these projects that promise crazy things, like just do your own research. Even looking on Google, like simple questions like how long does it take to create a game, or how much budget do you need to create an animation, things like that. That'll give you some good basic information that should help you do some decent research.
Yeah. I mean, it costs millions and millions and millions of dollars, and a lot of these anime, they don't take off. Like, they get broadcast, but they don't go anywhere, and many of them might be actually, lost for the studios. But it's like the game too. Like, many of them don't really make money, but it's the one or two or three that take off that recoup the cost for everything.
Yeah, and the Web3 games out there right now that they claim to be play to earn, all that kind of stuff. I can tell you, the only people playing those games are the people that spent too much buying the NFTs, and they're trying to make their money back. Honestly, they're desperate to make their money back. They're the only types of people who are playing the Web3 games. Either that, or they have an opportunity to make a small amount of money where, like, perhaps the cost of living are low where they live and it's suitable for them. You don't see any of the crazy whales that you might see in a World of Warcraft, or you might see in a Call of Duty or Fortnite. Those games where you have Clash of Clans, where you have people spending ridiculous amounts of money. Like, I heard that from my manager at work that he's in a clan in Clash of Clans where they're all doctors. and obviously they have a lot of money to spend, and they spend it because they enjoy the game. And they're not spending it to,
Yeah.
they don't spend it buying coins so that they can resell it. They don't need to. They're doctors, they got plenty of money, but yet they're still spending ridiculous amounts because they want to speed up progress or whatever it is that you can buy in those games. And none of those people are playing Web3 games. I can tell you that.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of the things that I'm seeing. It's like a double-sided problem here, where if a project goes well, and this is the global market, but I think is particularly a problem in Japan. If a project goes well and the floor goes really high, there's very few buyers that support that, and no projects are advertising or marketing in a way that like projects like Azuki has done, where it's kind of like a luxury brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the global market, there is a market for Chinese CFPs. Like people are actually still buying these and holding up the floor. Like they resonate with this whole like luxury kind of thing. But in Japan, like for example, Crypto Ninja Partners, their whole marketing at the beginning was like a great NFT for beginners, right? Well, it's not that anymore because it's like 2.2 ETH, right? So, but then like they can't change the marketing to say no, this is a luxury brand, because I think the market in Japan is not ready for that yet. And the one or two projects that have kind of tried that have not worked. They basically either did not sell out or the floor price has gone down under the mint price. So there's that problem. And then there's the other problem that I think most of these NFT projects up until now in Japan, they've been like solely focused on doing stuff for the holders, but they haven't, they've built like Crypto Ninja Partners has done an app for the holders. But how does that get new people in? How does that like grow the space? How does that bring in more revenue? Like if you're only servicing holders. So that's one of the challenges that I think a lot of these projects are going to be facing coming here.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly right. So I think the 2023 will be really interesting. I think that it's going to be good, but we just need. It can only be good if the participants are well informed. It's only going to be as good as the participants are, and if the participants are jumping into random projects, crossing their fingers, hoping for rags to riches, then that's going to be what the market is all about, and we sort of don't want that. I've been looking at whilst you were talking, so Tony, I was looking at that couple of these anime anime projects, right? Where I'm sure they will make something because hey, they raised enough money, but the end game is who's going to be watching them. If it's only going to be the holders of the PFPs, then that's not good enough, because
it's a waste.
Unless you're excited to see your character being used in the anime, but hang on, there's 7,777 PFPs. You can't use all of them in a story, can you?
That's the thing. How do you crack that, and how do you get something like quality out of that, right? Like, because for example, like Anime JP, that is a that has experience, according to what I remember and what I've read. It was pretty anonymous, but they were saying they were working in the Japanese animation industry. They were experienced, animators and all that. That's great. That's absolutely great. At least they know about the industry, if that's true. But that project has failed to get any significant traction, and the floor price is not amazing or anything. And then, but again, we go back to like, how do you develop that into something that will appeal to a larger market, and then will that translate into value into the NFT? And then on top of that, like even if they produce something, will it be a success?
And what language do you produce it in to begin with? Right, and then how many because you're trying to deliver or market a project that has no boundaries when it comes to participants. So you might have English speaking, Japanese speaking, other Asian languages, other European languages, and then you're trying to accommodate everyone as a holder and treat people equally, but then you're not going to translate your anime into 50 different languages, and you're certainly not going to find voiceover actors, for every single character times 50 languages. Like, that's impossible. I was looking at one called Kitaro, and
so that one's not Japanese. But
yeah, is that meant to be an anime though? Like, it looks like a.
So Kitaro World. So that one is like I said, not Japanese, but their art style is very Ghibli, like Nickelbus, like the
very. It's like
style. I mean, it's like exactly.
Yeah. Let's call it what it is. It's a ripoff.
Yeah. We talked about that project when it came out like 3 months ago or whatever, and we did not hold back. But so their whole idea, and I talked about this when it came out, but like they're gonna create some sort of AR coloring book, and your character will get to be in the coloring book, and you will receive some royalties. Like, this whole thing is just absurd to me. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, and I think it's like security wise, I think it's not even legal.
That's crazy. And older than that, there was one called Isekai Meta.
I remember that one. That was also like pure Ghibli.
Yeah. And I saw them, and I was like, man, please, like we're all trying to progress the space forward and invite people that are from outside of Web3. Like, this is not the way to do it, because all those holders, when nothing comes of that project, they're going to be telling all their friends, "Oh, don't get into NFTs," and it's terrible to see. But the main thing that I feel is that Web3, you can hide behind a PFP. You can say whatever you want about yourself. Like, you can claim to be whoever you want, and there's no real way to verify unless you're fully doxxed, but nobody does. The cleaner from Square Enix can say, "I worked at Square Enix," and that would be factually true.
X Square Enix, yeah.
So like, I see all these resumes, and like they always sound so impressive. X Blizzard, X World of Warcraft, I did X Riot Games, blah blah. And some people, they have like 5 or 6 of these titles, and I'm thinking, man, how did you manage to get around to all these huge companies apparently taking up leading roles? That sounds crazy to me. And none of these games and animes and things have delivered so far that I've seen. Do you know of any that have actually delivered?
In terms of one of these big promises where it's like a game that isn't just like, an online web browser, quick thing, like no anime, no. So the 2 things that I will add for Kinsei Galverse and Crypto Ninja Partners. Okay, so Kinsei Galverse, I don't think they've made enough money to make like a proper, like full series or anything. I don't know how the hell they're going to do that. But the founder is a well-connected person in the entertainment industry. Maybe they can get outside funding. I don't know. Crypto Ninja Partners, they are working with a legit animation studio. Last I heard, this is like maybe 6 months ago. So this is going to be some Crypto Ninja anime. I don't know how they're funding this. I don't know how long this anime will be. But at the very least, I do know that last they had announced something. This was a legit production studio that had worked on other properties that are well known. That being said, it's like it's so hard to turn. Like these PFPs don't start with like a solid, full out like 26 episode story arc or anything.
Mm-hmm.
They start out with like, oh, this is a ninja and it's on the crypto blockchain. That's how they start, right?
Yeah, exactly. And
so
you mentioned like some of them are working with legit studios, right? And this is just speculation. I'm not pointing at that particular project, but let's just say that if I raised a ton of money on the back of a promise of making an anime, for example, and then I commission a studio to do it, the only people that immediately benefit are the studio because they're getting work and getting paid. Right. And I benefit because I've sold all these NFTs, so the money's coming to me. And then the last people that get a handout, the last people to take a piece of any money are the actual holders. Do you know what I mean? And I would be shocked if there wasn't any inside deals, like mates helping mates. So hey, I will choose an animation studio to work with, but guess what? I'm not going to tell you, but I'm actually friends with the director there, or I'm actually friends with the owner. So I'm just going to shuffle some work over to their studio. Maybe they're struggling for work, so I'm going to line them up with 6 months worth of work. And how do I pay them? Well, not my money. It's all the money that the holders have given me from buying the NFT. And if we don't succeed, then no one can like take me to court, because the product will still be, hopefully, if you produce the anime, if no one watches it, then that's not my problem. Do you know what I mean? Because I never promised that. What I promised was I'll build an anime, and for the select few people that maybe got the rarest NFTs, we're going to use it, or maybe it's random. We'll use your characters inside the storyline. And as long as I deliver that, then I can wash my hands and say, hey, look, the fact that nobody watched it, it's crypto, it's still early, crypto winter, all these kind of excuses. And the only ones that are left with a burnt pocket are the holders.
I mean, the interesting thing about that is that many of these projects in Japan are minting out for much, much lower prices than what we saw. So they don't even have the same level of funding. So that's in a way that's a relief, and in a way that's even more concerning.
Yeah, you're right. Because when that happens, okay, so you have to get external funding. When you do get external funding, all of a sudden, like typically VCs, they're not investing for fun. They're investing because they want to make more money. So at the end of the day, they're the ones that get paid first, anyways. And on top of that, if it's depending on the venture capital firm, like they might want to have control or a say in the way things go. Like some of them are quite nosy. They don't just put up the money and let you run the show. They'll put up the money, right? Yeah, and then they want to, and then they might want to put whatever their 2 cents worth is into the project, or use their internal guys or whatever. Like it gets all messy. So I don't know, man. I just don't feel like the market is ready for something like this. It would only be ready if a successful studio, a real life successful studio, went to Web3, because then they have a existing user base, history, reputation, stories if they choose to expand on an existing series, etc. But anything that's new and giving promises, like surely if the project had that much potential, you would write a pitch deck, and you wouldn't really have to sell NFTs and raise money from the buyers. Surely if it's that good, you could take it straight away. You could take it to a big investment group and get them to fund it.
I mean, that's the thing about NFTs. Like, okay, so we do like NFTs and we buy and blah blah. But if you want to take the kind of the cynic, or maybe even just purely realistic approach here, is you as the person selling the NFT are offloading all the risk to the holder.
Yeah, absolutely.
They take on all the risk. If it succeeds, you win big, maybe. But if it doesn't, you lose everything.
Can you think of like a system like that in real life? Like that's it's such a good system, isn't it? Like if I want to open a yakiniku restaurant, in the city, and I need a couple of $1 million, like usually I have to go find that money myself. Imagine if in real life I could go to the town and gather all these people and say, hey, if you all give me $100 each, I'm going to try and build this yakiniku place in the city, fantastic views. And if it goes well, then you as holders, you can come and eat for free or a discount or something like that. I wish I could do that.
I know, right?
But apparently that's how it works in Web3. You don't have to put up anything other than probably a very exaggerated resume and get together a group of people, maybe a couple of influencers that will just pump the shit out of your project, and then all of a sudden you got all this funding. I don't even think it's legal to do that in real world, to just go and like, get money from people.
Again, that's like stocks and securities and all that. So yeah, it's like that's the gray area that is not so gray, but that hasn't been officially like decided on yet. So that could be another thing that's coming in the near future, like stricter regulation.
Yeah,
regarding all this stuff.
Yeah, in that sense, I think we need it, because as long as there's no regulation, these opportunistic people, they're going to keep coming. So that's why it's more important the only way to stop it without regulation is education. So no regulation, we need education so that people aren't so easily duped into believing everything that's written about a project. Like it has progressed a little bit, because I remember a year ago, all you needed to do was build a website, a decent looking website, maybe not even a decent looking one, put up a web page, have something called a roadmap. Yeah, right. And then just put Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. And as long as you had certain words in there like metaverse, token, airdrop, your project will sell out. But now I think people are a little bit smarter, so they're not falling for that roadmap thing as much anymore. Some people are, but people do look beyond. And then previously you didn't have to be doxxed, but now you sort of do. And now you also sort of need to have had some success in Web 2 that can be verified. But still, if you have enough manipulation skills, you can write up a good story. And I've seen Twitter. I don't know if you get any Twitter ads on your feed, Tony, but I've had ones from like Ferrari and Lamborghini that say, minting now. You go to the website and it looks absolutely professional, but it's a scam. But Twitter allows ads. Yeah, so they're getting smarter, these scammers, but we need to also keep up and educate ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, I said this a little bit earlier, but I think that's a little bit of what's happening in the Japanese market right now. There's been this rush to get as many projects out as possible in the past like 3 months, but I think the market, the participants are starting to, they've got that experience. People that are still here, they kind of know like the whole game, and like, this project doesn't look that good, whatever, and they're being a little bit more picky, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing, because that means that the projects that want to really do well, they have to do a better job marketing and presenting a better product.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What happened to Oniforce? Do you know?
Oniforce has been in this weirdo like limbo, because of course they did amazingly when they launched. Too good, so good that people lost a lot of money on that because the floor crashed. And then that left it with like a black eye. People were like, Oniforce lost us a bunch of money. And so once the traders start talking like that, that becomes kind of the reality. And then basically they've changed management like once or twice. I think they got bought out once or twice. And they've tried various things, but the floor never gets out of that like 0.3 to like 0.6 or 7 range. I think like I check on it like rarely, but once in a while, and it's just kind of stagnant there. It just kind of goes up and down and kind of sticks around, and the market just doesn't like it. The market doesn't favor it. They don't see it going anywhere, and like Azuki has become like the anime project like in the global market.
So what did Oniforce do with their like $5 million in royalties from OpenSea? At least $5 million. What do they do with it?
I don't know. I really don't know. I know that they did some kind of like second drop kind of thing where you could like update your PFP, and they were talking about creating a manga, and they were actually trying to get Japanese creators to draw a manga for them. I don't know if that ever happened. And yeah, I don't know of any big news. I know they're part of like 10KTF. They've gotten some benefits because of that. That's basically because they're at this point they're kind of like a legacy project. They're kind of like one of the OG older projects, and so that's one of the things that kind of gives them a little bit of value. But the larger NFT market really doesn't care too much about it.
Yeah, I feel terrible for people that got caught up in that. It's
And sadly, it like I wasn't there to see like how they did their marketing, but I suspect that this was just like Steve Aoki and a bunch of people really got excited about it, and the market was just super hot right then. So it wasn't completely Oniforce's fault that it went that crazy.
Mhm.
The market was crazy, and so Oniforce was in that sense a little bit of a victim, like too much hype, and they weren't making they weren't trying to build that hype to that extent, but the market was so hot that it went that crazy, kind of like hate crime or hate beef, whatever.
But I bet the founders aren't sorry about making 5 million in royalties.
Well, I don't think they regret that part. I don't know. I haven't talked to them, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna get back to work. My lunchtime's finished.
Yeah.
But
Anyway, yeah. Thanks for coming out, man.
yeah, good to
Yeah.
chat to you. Hello to everyone. I noticed
Yep.
a couple of people I recognize, but I think I might be new to some of the others. So hopefully we'll get to chat again. If I don't speak to
Yeah.
you beforehand, happy New Year, and
Same to you, man.
put all this stuff 2022 behind us, and look forward to
Yeah.
2023. So arigato.
Same. Thank you. All right. Thank you. All right, guys. So I will close out. It is. Oh, it's 5 o'clock. So if you're gonna watch LLAC and see what the hell happens with that, go look on OpenSea. I guess it started. So go check that out. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. It was a solo show, but I was glad to have a couple of guests come on. That's always nice. So thanks, guys. I'll probably be back next week, hopefully with crypto, and it'll be a normal show where him and I, talk about what's been going on. I'm sure we'll be talking about LLAC for most of the show, just going over what happened with that. So be careful out there. That's going to be a crazy, up and down probably. We'll see what happens, but just be careful. Don't, manage your risk if you're getting in on that. If not, just watch and enjoy the show. So thank you guys. By the way, I'm doing a giveaway for a project in January, a Japanese project. It's a pin tweet called Try Wolf. If you haven't entered, you can enter. There's a good chance you might win the whitelist for that 0.001 min. So it's one of these super cheap ones. You can check that out. And yeah, follow at Tokyo Alpha HQ if you haven't already. That's where I kind of tweet out, in English more about the Japanese market on my personal account at the Vega Tony. Lately, I've been tweeting mostly in Japanese. So if you don't know Japanese, maybe that's kind of annoying. Or you can use the translate feature. Maybe enjoy my tweets via weird robot translation. But I do tweet in English sometimes too. So anyway, thank you guys. Appreciate you coming. And hopefully we'll be back next week. If not, I'll probably be around on Saturday morning Japan time. I do another thing at that time. I might do one this week. New Year's Eve. So we'll see. I'll decide. But anyway, thanks guys. Talk to you next time.